It's our choices, Radhika, that truly define what we are. So I would like to start with a rapid fire round. Ready?
Go for it.
Excellent. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Best financial advice you ever received?
Do what works for you. Keep it personal.
Investor you admire?
Actually, the household Indian women, the Nani and Dadi, who've been managing household money for many generations.
Stock market trend that recently surprised you?
Oh, the obsession with microcaps.
MS Dhoni or Virat Kohli?
MS Dhoni.
Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Favorite movie?
Anything Yash Chopra made between like the 80s and 90s.
If not an asset manager, what would you be?
Lawyer.
Investing is, complete the sentence.
Investing is a means to live a better life.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm thrilled to have with us Radhika Gupta, MD and CEO of Edelweiss Mutual Fund. We are going to talk about investing, about stock markets and life lessons. So get ready for some serious wisdom. Ready, Radhika?
I'm ready.
So the India consumption story, as we know, is developing, evolving, and getting huge. But there are certain pockets within this consumption story. For example, let's say as per capita income increases, chances are one would buy a AC first and then a car.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Which pockets are growing faster than others?
So I think, India is a very complex consumer market, and there is no single India in that sense. I almost argue that there are 3-4 Indias residing within one India. But the top 10% of this population is actually a very rich country, and it accounts for half the economy. And I think that market, which is what you call premium consumption, is the one I'm excited about. Now, it's not specific products, but it's this notion of premiumization. So if you are a bike maker today, perhaps your rural is struggling and your basic is struggling, but if you've got a good premium brand, then that's a hit. So I think premium consumption is a story, whether it's in hospitality, whether it's in food, whether it's in travel, whether it's in autos. Premium is the one for the next decade.
And do you have a specific investment philosophy? Like some investors are value investors, some are growth investors. So what guides your investment decisions?
So at Edelweiss Mutual Fund, we use this framework called FAIR. And since you mentioned some people are value and growth, I'll just run through the quick 4 components of FAIR. FAIR basically looks for companies with clean forensics. It's beyond numbers, but forensic analysis is important. 2 is A is acceptable price. So we don't want to overpay. We are not buy at any price investors. The third one to your question is we are independent of value and growth. So we can hold a company that you would classify as a value company. We can hold a company that you classify as a growth company. And fourth is we want a certain amount of robustness of sales, business model, ROE, etc. So FAIR basically encompasses our philosophy.
Got it. And how do you choose a mutual fund for yourself?
How do I choose? Well, a lot of it is Edelweiss Mutual Fund, but the schemes that I choose, I do about 30% non-Edelweiss investments. I think firstly, whether it's Edelweiss or non-Edelweiss, it's very important that the schemes fit my own goals and my risk appetite, because I have very unique circumstances, so everything's tailored. I try to pick 3-4 categories of mutual funds. So there are lots of categories. It can be very confusing. I like BAF as a category, balanced advantage funds. I like mid cap as a category. I like small cap. I have a couple of index funds. And then within each of these categories, I pick 2 funds. One is certainly from our own AMC. The fund from another AMC is one that has a different investment style than what we will follow in our own AMC.
Got it. And this one is slightly difficult. When should one sell a mutual fund?
When one's goal has been accomplished, when one needs the money, or if there is a material problem in the scheme that you have been able to assess, either there's a fraud or something which doesn't happen, or some drastic asset management company change. But if that has not happened, then if the scheme has underperformed over a period of at least 3 to 5 years.
Everyone makes investing mistakes, especially early on. So what are those particular pitfalls that younger generation should watch out for?
I think one is the younger generation is increasingly getting more impatient. So giving things time, because in constantly churning your portfolio, you pay a lot of tax. I think avoiding FOMO is very important when you're young, because it's very easy to say, my friend did this, they made a lot of money, she did that, she did that. And really, I think investing choices are personal. And third, investing in simple things. So, because we're young, we think we're smart, we invest in a lot of complex stuff. Simple stuff in India works just fine.
And Edelweiss Mutual Fund, as well as you, are big on financial literacy. What are those 3 pieces of advice that you would like to give to Indian men and women, particularly regarding investing?
Well, I think everyone should get financially literate. A lot of times people are scared of jumping into the world of finance, or they jump into it without having the basic foundational knowledge, and I think that's important. Second, everyone should have a sense of goal planning. There's a belief that financial literacy is understanding the stock market, picking stocks, reading balance sheets. It's actually understanding your goals and matching investments to your goals and having realistic expectations. And the third is, since you said Indian men and women, and I'm glad, financial planning should be done as a household, because goals are for the household. So involve each other and make it a joint exercise.
I'm happy to add here that, Upstocks in last 1.5 year, we've imparted stock market education to about 1.5 lakh people.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So Radhika, let's shift gears and talk about your remarkable career. So you moved from tech to consulting to then investing. So, these are all pivots, and what marked or what led to these changes?
I think it's like Goldilocks trying to figure it out. Many of us join industries without, my father didn't work in the private sector, right? So I didn't have any guidance. And so whatever came my way, I tried. And I said, I like this. So when I did tech, I said, I like some of it, but, I want to do something more business oriented. Then I did consulting, and I said, but I want to do something, this is good, but I want to do something that has more of an operating role, because consulting tends to be a little generalist. And then I found asset management, and as I said, like Goldilocks, I was happy. So I think careers are an exercise of taking the opportunities you get, giving them your best, and then discovering and making, something of what comes along the way.
True. And, mutual fund industry, it's evolving.
Yeah.
So where do you, see things going in the next few years?
I think this industry is an amazing place to be. It's 50 lakh crores. I think in 5 years you'll have a 100 lakh crore industry. You'll have a 35,000 crore SIP book. People have recognized that mutual funds are the simplest and most reliable investment instrument for the average Indian, where there's so much variety, where there's so much transparency, where there's so much efficiency. There are great platforms like yours doing a lot of good work to give access to consumers. And I think this journey, the young India, is so much more aspirational about what they want with their money. And mutual funds are a way to fulfill some of those aspirations.
Radhika, now beyond your impressive career path, I would like to know the person behind the title.
Okay.
So you became the CEO of Edelweiss Mutual Fund at a young age of 34. So what did you do to handle pressures of such a big position?
I think I asked for a lot of help because I became CEO without really knowing what the role entails. But I think asking for a lot of help when you don't have background is very important, and I ask for a lot of help till today. Spending a lot of time getting deep into the different functions that a CEO has, the different teams that it oversees, not just doing it at a high level, I think getting deep. And third is having a very good support network, I think helps you handle pressure.
And financial markets teach you a lot of lessons. So what is the biggest lesson the market has taught you?
There are many, but I think the power of zooming out, because if you look at anybody's life on a day-to-day basis, it's very chaotic. And if you look at markets on a day-to-day basis, if you look at markets on a very short-term basis, they're very chaotic. For sometimes there'll be one bad news, one bad quarter of earnings, one state election, whatever's happening. But if you look at markets over a longer period, over 5 years, 10 years, people make money, right? And so it's important in your day-to-day struggles also in life. If you zoom out and look at your life over 5 and 7 years, you'll realize that there's a lot to be grateful for. So I think the ability to zoom out.
Got it. And in your book Limitless, you mentioned a 7-point guide to ultimate success. Among these 7 points, I really liked TGIF and choose your sky and learn to fly. So were these snippets inspired by some incidents in your life?
TGIF is, I think, a thought that's been very close to me, because I think, like many Indian women, I've talked about struggles with rejection, challenges that everybody has about the way that they look. So I think TGIF came from there. Find your sky, learn to fly is, I think, one of my favorite lines from the book, because I really believe that in today's India, each individual has the potential to fly, because that's the opportunities are actually limitless. But you have to find the sky. Everybody doesn't have to fly in the same sky. And learning to fly is also, the learning is very important in flying.
And by the way, TGIF here means thank God I am flawed, and I'm also proud to say that.
Well, there you go.
So, Radhika, you've been an inspiration to many Indians, and so what would you like to tell a person who doubts his or her own potential?
Look inward and approach life with confidence, because I think, as I wrote in the book, the world is truly a mirror. It sees you as you see yourself, and so walk out with self-confidence.
Thank you, Radhika. Thanks again for taking out time for this discussion, and I'm sure there's tons to take away from this.
Thank you.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.